Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about a very widely and commonly used math topic, and that is BEDMAS. We use BEDMAS whenever we're trying to solve equations with more than one step. So if there are many steps and you don't know which one to solve, then BEDMAS is what you need. So each letter in BEDMAS stands for a different word. So let's talk about it. So the B in BEDMAS stands for brackets. The E stands for exponents. The third letter stands for division. M stands for multiplication. A stands for addition, and lastly, the S, you may have noticed, stands for subtraction. Now, each of these words stands for a different step or a different step in an equation. So B, the brackets, there are three commonly used brackets. They are this one, and this one. So brackets always have an opening and closing bracket. That means you'll never see a bracket that just opens and never ends. So if you're ever writing an equation, make sure to go over your equation if it has any brackets to check if there are any opened brackets that haven't been closed. The second one, exponents. So you may have seen a number, let's say 2, and it has a small number at the top, let's say 2. So actually, let's take the number to be 3. And a tiny number on the top right corner that in our case is 2. So basically, exponent is that tiny number on the top. So over here, y is our exponent. So let's say our x over here, like we said, is 3, and our y is 2. So 3 raised to the power 2. Whenever we have an exponent, we always say the first number, which is the base, and our top number, which is our exponent. So we will always say base raised to the power exponent. So our case was 3 with 2 as our exponent. This is 3 raised to the power 2. If it was 3 with 3 as our exponent, this would be 3 raised to the power 3. Now 2 and 3 both have special names that we say. 3 raised to the power 2 can also be written as 3 squared. 3 raised to the power 3 can also be written as 3 cubed. So that is something to remember. So that is our exponents. Next is our division. Division it's pretty common. You may have seen division a lot, but let's go over it. Let's say we have a number and we are dividing it by 2. So over here, 6 divided by 2. Now let's go over this. division. Division can also be interpreted as fractions. So 6 divided by 2 can also be written as 6 over 2 as a fraction. So this is something to be very careful about. So if you ever see the number 6 over 2, don't freak out. All it means is 6 divided by 2. Now, what is division? Now, to explain this, I need you to imagine that you have 10 pieces of candy. So 10 candies. Let's say you have 4 candies. My candies look like bows, but we don't talk about that. So let's say you have 4 candies. I'll rewrite that. 4 candies. And you have a friend, and your friend says that he or she wants the same amount of candies as you do. So what would you do? Well, since there are 2 people and there are 4 candies, then that would basically mean that we are dividing the 4 candies for 2 people. So that is basically the fraction 4 over 2, which is 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So that means you and your best friend both have 2 candies. Now, let's go back to our original question, which was 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Is 3. So our answer would be 3. Okay, the next one, multiplication. You may have also heard of multiplication a lot. It is when you multiply a number by another number. So let's say 4 times 2. So let's say that you have 4. Let's go back to our previous question, which is 4 candies. Now let's say your friend has as many candies as you do. So what would you do? So if you want to know how many candies both of you have together, you could add them up. 4 candies plus 4 candies, which is obviously 8 candies. I'm not going to write Actually, yeah, I will. So both of you have 8 candies together. But then what if you had a larger number of friends? Let's say 12 friends. So could you add all 12 of those 4s? You could go ahead and add them one by one, but that would take a long time. So that's why we have a topic of multiplication. You could multiply 4 by 12, which would give us 48. So that summarizes what multiplication is. Now back to our original question, which was 4 times 2, which is 8. Now for our next topic, which is addition. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you already know what addition is, so I'm going to make it short and simple. So let's say our previous question for multiplication, which was if you had 4 candies and your friend had the same amount. Let's just change it up. Let's say you had 3 friends and each one of you had 3. So how much do you have together? 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. So that solves it. Now, subtraction. Subtraction, we know what that is too. It's basically when you're taking a number out from each other. Like if you and one of your friends had 6 candies, and one of your friends takes 2 from that. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So that summarizes subtraction. Now to where do we actually use BEDMAS? Like we've talked about what all of them are: brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. But where do we use this? So to understand how we use it, let's solve a few questions. So let's say our first question is 6 times 4 divided by 12 plus 72 divided by 8 minus 9. So before we start solving questions, let's go over a few basic concepts first. In BEDMAS, a few of these are interchangeable. So division and multiplication, they both can be interchangeable, meaning you can do division before multiplication or the other way around. So if you wanted, in a question, if there was both division and multiplication, you could do either one of those first. Same goes for addition and subtraction. If you wanted to do subtraction before addition, it wouldn't cause a problem. They would both result in the same thing. So now let's get to solving a question. Let's say our first question is, let's call this an example. Let's say our first question is 6 times 4 divided by 12 plus 72 divided by 8 minus 9. What do you think that would result in? Now remember, BEDMAS. So in BEDMAS, what comes first? Brackets. But since we don't have any brackets in this, we're going to ignore that. What about exponents? We don't have any exponents in this either, so we're going to cross that out. So our first thing we will be solving is division. So we have division over here, and we have division over here. So let's do this one first. 72 divided by 8 is 9. So, and 4 divided by 12, well, that would give us a fraction. But remember how multiplication and division are interchangeable? How about we do the multiplication first? So before I confuse you anymore, let's just rewrite the equation with our 72 divided by 8 replaced by our 9. 6 times 4 divided by 12 plus 9 minus 9. So let's see what we can do now. So look at how we have, okay, I'm going to erase this BEDMAS and make a new one. Oh no, I erased the 9. Okay, so our BEDMAS. So we don't have brackets or exponents. Now see how division and multiplication are interchangeable? How about we do the multiplication first. 6 times 4, 24, and then divide it by 12. That would give us 2. So let's rewrite the equation once more. 2 plus 9 minus 9. Well, So we could, now let's add 2 and 9 because in our BEDMAS chart, addition comes next. So 2 plus 9, that gives us 11. So let's rewrite our equation, 11 minus 9. And our last step in BEDMAS is subtraction. So let's do our subtraction, which is also our only operation left, which it gives us 2. So our final answer is 2. Let's redo this one more time. I'll make this super quick. 6 times 4 divided by 12 plus 72 divided by 8 minus 9. 6 times 4 is 24 divided by 12 plus 72 divided by 8 minus 9. 24 divided by 12 is 2. So 2 plus 72 divided by 8 minus 9. 2 plus 72 divided by 8 is 9. So 2 plus 9 minus 9. 2 plus 9 is 11, and so now our final operation is 11 minus 9, which gives us 2. So our final answer is 2. So let's move on to another question, which is 3 times 5 squared. Remember, squared is 5 raised to the power 2, divided by 15, closing bracket, minus opening bracket, 5 minus 2 squared, and bracket closed. Now let's bring back our old buddy, BEDMAS. So what comes first in BEDMAS? Well, B, which is our brackets. So we have 2 sets of brackets over here. We could solve both of them, but let's go with this one. Let's call it bracket 1. And let's call the second one bracket 2. So bracket 1 has 3 operations in here. Which one do we solve first? So let's go back to BEDMAS. What is first in our BEDMAS? Let's make the light green for bracket 1. So in our first in BEDMAS is the brackets, but inside of bracket 1 there are no brackets. So let's cross out the brackets. What's next? Our exponents. So do we have any exponents in bracket 1? Yes, we do. That is 5 squared. So let's write that down. 3 times 5 squared divided by 15 minus 5 minus 2 squared. So over here our exponent is 5 squared. Oops. So what is 5 squared? 5 squared is basically 5 times 5. And 5 times 5 gives us 25. Now, are there any other exponents in here? No. So let's rewrite our equation. 3 times 25 divided by 15 minus bracket 5 minus 2 squared. Now, what comes next in BEDMAS? Well, division comes, so we are done with the exponents. So division is next. Do we have any division in our bracket? Yes, we do. 25 divided by 15. Now, if you want, you could go ahead and divide 25 by 15, but I know for a fact that this would give us a decimal. And since we're trying to avoid decimals in this video, how about we do our multiplication first? So, is there any multiplication? So, do we have any multiplication in bracket 1? Yes, we do. And that is right here, 3 times 25. 3 times 25 gives us 75. So let's rewrite the equation. 75 divided by 15. Now, we have finished up multiplication, but before addition and subtraction, division and multiplication always have to go first. So, oh no, what happened to the keyboard? Okay. So, division and multiplication always have to come first. So, our next step is division. Do we have any division in bracket 1? Yes, we do. Our division is, well, our only operation left. So, 75 divided by 15 gives us 5. So we can go ahead and rewrite our equation. 5 minus 5 minus 2 squared. So as you can see, over here, in our bracket, we have nothing except a 5. So if we wanted, we could remove the brackets and just simply make it 5. So let's go ahead and rewrite our equation to do that. That would give us 5 minus 2 squared, which is practically the same thing except without the brackets. Now, so now we have finished bracket 1. Bracket 1 is gone, as you can see. Bracket 1 is finished. But we still have bracket 2 left. So let's go ahead and finish bracket 2. So let's go and bring back our old friend, BEDMAS. So what comes first in BEDMAS? Well, brackets, but there are no brackets inside of our bracket, so we can go ahead and cross that out. Our next operation is exponents. And yes, there is an exponent, which is 2 squared. So let's go ahead and solve 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. So we can go ahead and rewrite our equation to follow that. 5 minus 4. Now, what comes next in BEDMAS? Division, but do we have any division in this? No. So let's go ahead and cross out division. Do we have any multiplication? No. Is there any addition? Well, no. So this is subtraction, well, obviously. So let's go ahead and complete our subtraction. 5 minus 4 is 1. So we can rewrite our equation. 5 minus 1. Now, as we talked about earlier, if there's only an integer in our bracket, we can go ahead and remove it. So 5 minus 1 gives us 4. So our answer is 4. That was a very long and complicated question. So let's go over it just one more time so that there is no confusion left over. I'll make this go very quick, so don't worry. 3 times 5 squared. So what is 5 squared? 25. And divided by 15 minus 5 minus 2 squared. So what comes next in BEDMAS? Well, division. So we could do division, but let's do multiplication first since it doesn't really matter. So it's 3 times 25 is 75, and 75 divided by 15 minus 5 minus 2 squared is the rest of our equation. 75 divided by 15 gives us 5. So we can automatically remove the brackets, and then 5 minus 2 squared. So 5 minus 2 squared is 4. So 5 minus 4. We can go ahead and solve the subtraction in our brackets. 5 minus 4 gives us 1. So since there is nothing left except subtraction, we go ahead and solve the subtraction, which gives us 4. So now that we've understood how to solve these equations, let's summarize what we've learned so far. Okay, so today we learned what BEDMAS is, and we also learned that, they all stand for a different operation. That S looks way too big. So, as we went through, the B stands for brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and finally, subtraction. We also learned that the division and the multiplication can be interchanged. Same goes for the addition and the subtraction. They can also be interchanged. But no matter what we do, the division and multiplication, that looks bad. Division and multiplication always come before addition and subtraction. Same goes for brackets and exponents. They may not be interchangeable, but they still always have to come before division and multiplication. So I hope this video helped. Thanks for watching. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe.